Hey everybody, it's Chris Z and welcome to Project Monster Ram Stage 2. Now, if you've been watching the channel, you saw how I took my truck, this 2004 Dodge Ram Cummins, and took her from an incredible rot box and replaced the bed and the rockers. I'll show you. Ooh, right? There you go. And replaced the entire rocker assembly and repainted this truck in my own garage by myself. And the purpose was to show everybody how a regular guy could do this in his garage by himself. And there you go. So stage 2, now that the truck is structurally sound and ready to go, is going to be putting fender flares on her. There's the back one. And there's the front one. Now, the issue here is going to be that these flares are actually for 4th generation Ram. As with a lot of things in my life, what I want exactly, they don't make. So, I'm going to make these fit so that I can mount these rims and tires, 38 by 13 5s, R20s. That's the goal. And I'm going to show you how I'm going to fit these things to my truck. And it's going to be a blast. Okay, so here's the issue with fitting these flares. So as I said, these are originally for a 4th gen Ram, and the fender contour is pretty similar, especially up here. But as you can see, we have a cutout here that for the headlight on a 4th gen, and also this fender flare goes down quite a bit farther. So what I need this thing to do is I need this fender, the bottom of it, this flare, to end at the bottom of this fender. The way I'm going to accomplish that is I'm going to clamp this on in the position I need it to be in. I'm going to use my laser level to basically scribe a line across here with the laser, and then I'm going to cut the bottom of this off, and we're going to make a new bottom. And that's the beginning of how we're going to start altering this to fit on my 3rd gen Ram. And I'm going to show you how I do it. So this is the driver's side. I started here first, and I'm not going to show you the laser setup because it's long and boring, but what I did was I basically clamped this fender on like that. I did the laser scribe. I ended up cutting it with a hacksaw, so I have that nice and flat like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a 3/8 inch thick piece of ABS sheet plastic, and I'm going to cut a piece that's going to fit inside here and make a new flat bottom all the way across. And I'll show you how I did that. Okay, so here's the end of the fender. Okay, I've got that cut off. I did it with a hacksaw, nice and slow. Okay, and here's the new piece of plastic. You can see it's kind of beveled like that. Like I said, this is 3/8 inch ABS plastic, so it will epoxy to this. And I'm basically making it so that it fits right up in there like that. See? It's gonna be like that. That's how I want it to fit, just like that. It's kind of hard to do with one hand, but we'll epoxy that in there. This will start to be the first bottom, and I'll show you how we epoxy that. So for this project, we decided to use JB Weld plastic bonder. It's a panel adhesive and filler. It's got a 15-minute setup time and 30 minutes till it cures and it's sandable. So that's gonna really fit the bill for what we're doing here. Let me get some light in there and I will show you. We've got it applied and have most of that gap filled with epoxy. We'll do 2 coats. And here you see a cutting error. You know, who would show you that but me? But sometimes that happens, and no problem. We can fill it with plastic and it will be good as new. So we'll be back when this cures. Nice. Okay, as we can see, this is the inside here. I just applied my 2nd coat of panel adhesive gap filler sealer. And so that's a solid seal all the way around. This is that cutting error that I had. I made a little trough on the other side with some blue masking tape and filled the trough with the adhesive, and it looks really good. There we go. The first piece of 3/8" ABS is serving as a structural support for the end of the fender flare. And this is important because this material is flexible. It's going to be exposed to the sun, which means heat expansion and quite a bit of vibration. So having this in place is going to help guard against getting any kind of stress cracks or anything like that. That would ruin my paint job and make me go crazy. Here you see I have the second piece epoxy on already, and this is going to form the actual outer end cap of the fender flare, the finished product. So here you see I'm going to use the grinder to grind this down to a rough size before I move forward and fine tune it to get an actual radius that I want. Looking pretty nice. So we've got a divot here, and we're going to end up filling that with the JB Weld, because that is it's a panel adhesive and filler. So we'll fill that instead of using any Bondo, because I think it'll be a more permanent repair. So we're done with the first step of grinding and rough sanding and rough shaping, and this is what we're left with right here. So we've got our contours pretty much cut in there. Looks good. Looks good. All the way around. There. You look on the top. It's coming into shape, guys. We'll be back. We're going to do some filling of that gap, and we'll be back. Here we are working on the second fender. This is going to be the right side, and we've got our new filler piece put in there, and I got it rough sanded. You can see. Yeah, it looks really nice in there. Beautiful. And one of the things I had to do alteration-wise on these fenders, in order to allow the door to clear the fender flare when you open the door, because this fender flare will overlap the door, I have to trim back. In this area here, you can see how I've trimmed it back, okay? But you can only trim it back so far, and it was still rubbing. So what I ended up doing is basically epoxying in a gusset here. And what this does, it's actually pinching the fender that way, like that. About not quite a half an inch, maybe 3/8 of an inch. And when you do that, when you compress this, this comes out of the pathway of the door when you open it, and it allows a ton of clearance, and it works out fantastic. So we're just about ready to finish body work on this fender flare. And then we'll do some priming, and then we'll mount her up on the truck. And there she is out on the driveway. We'll be back in a little bit. So here's the front side of the left front fender, and all the structural body work is done on this thing. So we just need to do a little fine tuning, but we've got one coat of primer on it, and I'll just show you. You can see the front end here. Got a nice radius all the way around. Okay, looks good. Looks good in there. All right, here's the front of it. Looks nice. Looks nice. Okay. Still has to be sanded again and another coat of primer, but at this stage it's beautiful. Here you can see how I contoured the fender along here, right, to meet against the door. If you recall, this portion here was catching the door when I was opening. And so we put a gusset behind it to basically squeeze this portion of the fender about 3/8 of an inch. You really don't notice it. I can tell you, when it's on the truck, you don't notice it at all. But that's what we had to do, little structural engineering to get that to fit, but it's gonna work out fantastic. So this is the left front. I'm gonna show you the rear. We had to do some plastic adding to that to get it to work, but I'll show you the rears. This is the back half of the right rear fender, and I'm gonna zoom into this area here. As you can see, this portion here had to be added. This portion here had to be substantially taken away because the contour was that different, okay? Top half was not bad, but the bottom half here we had to add. So I'm gonna show you what that looks like. On the other side here, you can see that's what we added. We added this whole piece there. But it worked out fantastic because you can't tell. Look at that. Looks nice. Looks very nice. Here's the right front fender. Pretty much completed. Just needs some surface sanding and then some priming. All the structure is done. And it came out really well. So here you can see, that looks really nice. I mean, look at that. After this is painted, which the intent here, it's gonna be painted gloss black, just like the rest of the truck. So it's just gonna look like an absolute extension of the fender itself. I think that's a neat look. Some guys, they leave them flat or whatever, and that's fine. You know, it's all what your taste is, but these are gonna be gloss black. And in this area here, I'm gonna try and figure out, and we'll do this in the spring, I'm gonna try and figure out some kind of light I can put in there, a marker lamp. That I'm still working on. I'm still doing some searching to see a marker lamp that I could fit in there, but we'll do that in the spring. So, pretty cool. So here's one other thing about the Bushwacker fender flares, the way they mount. So these pocket fender flares have these bolt openings there, right? And they don't actually mount there, okay? The bolt heads that go in there are fake, okay? These fender flares actually get mounted in the inner fender, okay? In the fender well, there's screw holes in there, and that's how they get fastened. Well, in this application, I'm actually gonna bolt these to the body, okay? And I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna do that. Here's a bag of stainless steel riv nuts. This is what we're going to use, okay? Yeah, I'm gonna drill holes in my beautiful fenders and quarters, and we're gonna put riv nuts in there, and we're gonna bolt these babies in there. So it took me a while to find like a really cool fastener. I wanted something unusual. So it took me a few weeks of searching, but I came up with something that I think is really neat, something different, something unusual, and kind of aggressive and stands out. So after a million hours of internet searching, and many sleepless nights, here's what I finally came upon. This is a 10M dual Torx titanium bolt with a milled titanium washer. And the moment I saw it, I thought, that's so cool. Look at that, it's even got an emblem in the middle. I just thought, this is the neatest thing I've ever seen, right? So I needed 36 of them. 36 of them cost me $285. That hurt. But, you know, you're building something, and when you see something, and if you like it, it's worth it. It's worth it. So this is what we're going to be using to bolt our fender flares onto our truck. Let's make it a statement. Look at that.
Brotherhood of Dodge is more than cars, it's the trucks too, so
Help a brother out by liking, subscribing, and sharing this channel as many places as you possibly can, whether it's groups, forums, Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. My goal is to get the word out to as many people as possible that when these trucks rust, they can be saved. And I'm going to show you how to do it by yourself in your own garage. Thanks for your help, and see you next time.